Alright, we got a connection. Alright, so welcome to race number 24 of 29 in the 1989 throwbacks, and the championship race continues to get even tighter now. Bill Elliott winning last week at Dover now pulls the points differential down to 7 between Elliott and Richmond, and boy, these two have really taken off from literally everybody else in the pack. Earnhardt is gone, Bodine's gone, Waltrip's gone. They're all pretty much out of contention thanks to Elliott and Richmond's dominance. Unless some kind of significant collapse happens between both drivers, I don't see anybody else getting into this championship. So let's see what happens. Boy, Richmond and Elliott, both of them are fighting for their second career championship. Elliott got his first back in 1984 in one of the most dominating seasons of all time. Although that there was a lot of different winners, there was no competition for Elliott in terms of the wins, top 5s or top 10s. Elliott just blew everyone away. I think he had more top 10s than everyone by like 4. It's crazy. And Elliott had the record that season for most amount of top 10s in the season with 20. And that was broken last year. By the way, Mark Martin is on the pole. And that will be his first career pole, actually. Mark Martin on the pole here for Richmond. Wow, we've got a very interesting starting lineup here. That's different. Okay, well, on the pole is going to be Mark Martin. In second place, Tim Richmond. He just dominates here. Third place, Davey Allison, best career start. Fourth place, Brett Bodine. In fifth, we have Rusty Wallace. In sixth, Darrell Waltrip. In seventh, Phil Parsons, as I get interrupted by the command. Anyways, in 8th will be Jeff Bodine. In 9th, Bill Elliott. And rounding out the top 10 will be Ricky Rudd. The pace car goes off. And we're going to be underway. Wow, I had a lot to say, a lot to get into. Just not a lot of time. Sometimes that happens. But anyways, we're going to go green here from Martinsville. Oh boy, the smallest track in NASCAR. Host to the smallest field in NASCAR. We've only got room for 35 pit stalls here. And whoa, we've already got a car into the inside retaining barrier. I think that was Ken Schrader back there. Meanwhile, Mark Martin's going to come off of turn 4, and it looks like he's going to lead lap number 1, barely. The car off the inside retaining barrier indeed was Ken Schrader, and boy, that car looks torn up. Anyways, Mark Martin, he's going to try to run away with the lead. Remember, he tried to get his second career win last week at Dover. It looked like he was going to pull it out, but Elliott ran him down. Martin got the pole this time around, and he would like to show that he can he can get out in front and lead some laps. Meanwhile, Davey Allison, pretty much an unproved driver to this point. He qualifies 3rd, and boy, it does not look like he has had the best start to this race anyways. But he's definitely going to drive his wheels off that car just like his dad. The top 10 have pretty much almost broken down to single file. We've got Mark Martin in the lead, Tim Richmond 2nd, Davey Allison 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th, Phil Parsons in 5th, Brett Bodine's gone into 6th, Darrell Waltrip 7th, Dale Earnhardt in 8th, Terry Labonte in 9th, and Bill Elliott, being stuck on the outside lane, is going to fall back to 10th. And boy, when you get on the outside lane at this track, it can be so difficult to get back to the inside lane. You'll see here that Elliott's going to try to beat Ricky Rudd here off into turn number 1, but sometimes it's just a futile effort. So Elliott, he's going to let Rudd go there, fall back to 11th, and retake that inside lane. You got to figure Elliott's faster than a few of the cars in front of him. Same thing with Jeff Bodine here, so it should be interesting to see how these people go through the field. Meanwhile, Darrell Waltrip, he's making a little bit of progress. He's up into the 6th position. If we take a look at the fastest laps right now, for the 2nd race in a row, Mark Martin's got the fastest car. The question is, does he have the fastest car in the long run? Davey Allison's still hanging in there in the 3rd position. We really haven't seen him do too much outside of his win at Michigan back in 1987. We really haven't seen Davey Allison do much. He's had a lot of flashes of brilliance in that 28 car, and you got to think that he might be contending for the championship, if not next year, definitely the year after. But sometimes it can just be a struggle for a team, and right now Allison, well, they definitely struggled early on. Inconsistencies have plagued them, not just this year, but the year before. As soon as this team can wring out some inconsistencies, you gotta figure that these guys will be contending for the win soon. Yeah, like you said, they just need to wring out those inconsistencies a little bit. As far as the battle for position is concerned, we don't have too many battles going on except for this one right here. This is the battle for the 14th position. Kyle Petty and Larry Pearson are battling each other fiercely for position here. And Petty's able to get around Pearson. And we don't mean Richard Petty and David Pearson on that, obviously. Larry Pearson in the 4 car. It's unknown what's going to happen to Larry Pearson next year. We know that he's not going to return to the 4 car. But the question is, where is he going to end up? Since it looks like Ernie Irvan's going to be able to come in next season, rumors are that Ernie Irvan is going to be driving for Morgan McClure next season. So it should be an interesting year of transactions, no doubt about that. I mean, we've got the spot for Bud Moore open. We've got the spot for Junior Johnson open. So it's absolutely crazy. But that's the 2 top teams right there. Could have some crazy movements going on. Meanwhile, it looks like Tim Richmond's been slowly working Mark Martin back in. Yeah, it's been slow progress. He was out. Mark Martin was out to almost a 1-second advantage, but then he started catching some of the lap traffic there, like Ernie Irvan, and he started to fall back a little bit. So maybe on these longer runs, Mark Martin might have really good short run speed, but maybe, just maybe, he doesn't have the long run speed. Potential. Whoa, looked like the 28 there, Davey Allison, went way wide. That is not the line you want to take. Meanwhile, Phil Parsons is able to take over the 4th position. That was a good job there by Phil. Remember, he was able to get that win at Bristol earlier this season. So Phil Parsons pretty much meeting whatever expectations there were. They wanted to have a rebound season. Well, they got a win. Although it doesn't look like that they're going to finish within the top 10 in points. They really do like the short tracks here, so they're trying to rebound as quick as they can. Meanwhile, his teammate Harry Gant is all the way down in the 24th position. Not a very good day for Gant. And speaking of not good days, right now it is really not a good day for Elliott. I guess he just does not have the car today. He is still stuck here in the 11th position behind Ricky Rudd. And he's actually only got the 13th fastest time, so Elliott's going to have to really move up some positions, or all that hard work that he did over the past 4 or 5 weeks to come within basically 2 positions of Tim Richmond. All of that work is going to be nullified. Looks like it might have to be one of those pitch strategy days where Elliott's going to have to work his way back up towards the front using pit road. It's not the greatest strategy that you can play here, but it's something that can and will work. Speed on the track at the short tracks isn't everything. Obviously, you got to have the long run speed too. The tires will wear off fast, so got to keep on thinking about that. Got to think about the tires, got to think about the brakes. Meanwhile, the 27 continues to fall back as he's just having not good luck with lap track. Oh, look at this, 3 wide. Whoa, Jeff Bodine trying to make an insane move. Somehow they don't wreck. 4 wide. Nope, there they go. They're in the wall. And I think they're good. They saved it. Wow. That was that was a little gut-wrenching. I don't think that's the way Elliott wanted to get into the top 10, but hey, those 2 positions will do it. And now you got to wonder if there's any damage on the 27 or the 15. Well, that's 2 more positions for Elliott, no matter what way you look at it. So Elliott's looking a little bit more healthy now. So it looks like Elliott, if the race were to end right now, Elliott would be 37 points behind. No, that can't be right. 39 points behind Tim Richmond. And that's if the race were to end now. Mark Martin is still your leader here at Richmond, at a track where Fords just really haven't had the speed to do anything at this track. Mark Martin's really going out there and defying all of that right now. And Martin's had a lot of really good runs on the short tracks. Of course, he got that win at Talladega, his first career win. That was spectacular to see. But Mark Martin, he has had a lot of success on the short tracks here. And I'm sure he's going to want to continue this success into 1990. I'm not necessarily going to jump straight to conclusions saying that he's going to be a championship contender, because just like with Davey Allison, this team's been plagued with inconsistencies. They've been struggling. So it might take a little bit longer for these guys to get into the championship hopes, but there is definitely potential here for Mark Martin. Meanwhile, taking a look here in 5th, I should say, is Darrell Waltrip, the 3-time champion, 1981, 1982, and 1985. He's going to be sticking around with Hendrick Motorsports for a little while, that's for certain. Yeah, no doubt about that. Waltrip's going to be sticking around. The question, the big question right now, though, is can Waltrip rebound and get an even better championship finish next year for 1990? I mean, every year's been an improvement for Waltrip. 1987 was just a terrible year. Didn't even make the top 10 in points. 1988, they got back into the top 10, had the 1 win at Talladega. And now this year, they still only have the 1 win, but here they are 4th or 5th in points wherever they are. I mean, here they are 4th, 5th in points with in a battle with Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt. So Darrell Waltrip and this 17 team in general, they have done an excellent job this season. And pretty much it probably just the same thing as everyone else. They just got to wring out the inconsistencies this team has been plagued by. And once they're able to do that, I think Waltrip might come back into contention at 43 years old. You know, you got to figure that Darrell Waltrip, he isn't going to have a lot of wins left in him. 73 career wins. I mean, that is I don't want to say that's unprecedented, but that is rare. The caution is out. It looks like Eddie Bierschwale is around. We'll try to figure out what happened here to Eddie. Oh, a problem here. He walks up the brakes and then he just stops. Oh, and Phil Parsons gets into him. Oh, that really sucks because Parsons was having a good day. Parsons was having a really good day. I think Darrell Waltrip got into the back of Parsons as well. Yeah, you can clearly see it there too. And whoa, we've got more contact as Parsons is going to go around. So the 17 is going to come down pit road, and I imagine the 55 will as well. So some tangling going on here at Martinsville. Here comes the pit stops, and as speaking of those inconsistencies, that is not what Darrell Waltrip wanted. Wait for pit road, and there you go. Waltrip's going to prevent himself from going more than a one lap down here. So that's going to be important for Darrell. Meanwhile, Mark Martin's going to come out in first, Tim Richmond second. Looks like Davey Allison third, Dale Earnhardt fourth, and Jeff Bodine will come out in fifth. And I think they're going to score Darrell Waltrip as on the tail end of the lead lap. I can't imagine that the contact that Waltrip had was too severe. You can see there that they were able to beat the damage back out on the fender. So they should still be okay to some degree. But we'll have to see just how much slower that 17 car is. Of course, he's going to be pushed way back because he's going to be pushed way back in the pack because he's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap. Right now, he scored 30th. And meanwhile, Neil Bonnet and Ken Schrader. We showed Ken Schrader. I'm not sure what happened with Neil Bonnet. But you can see that Phil Parsons will be exiting the race. Darrell Waltrip. Looks like he's now going to be scored 23rd. Now, he's not faster than Mark Martin. If we take a look at the fastest laps, Darrell Waltrip, he is 5th fastest, so he's got a fast enough car, but he's not faster than Martin, he's not faster than Richmond, and he's not faster than Earnhardt either, and Earnhardt's right there as well. Don't look too far back, but Dale Earnhardt is there in 4th. So there's a lot of cars that Waltrip's not faster than, but all that Waltrip needs to do is outpace the first car into turn 1, and he can take off, and he can keep himself on the lead lap. It might take another caution in order for him to get back into contention in this race, but it just reminds me of Darlington, where a similar situation screwed him over. He ended up being on the tail end of the lead lap, and he just couldn't recover from there. Yeah, that isn't. It can be really hard to recover from petty little mistakes like that. Anyways, the green flag is about to drop here in Martinsville, here at lap number 42. Mark Martin is your leader. As we just addressed, all that the 17 needed to do is get out in front of Bierschwell. He has successfully done that. So now the question is, who can get to the bottom line the fastest? And it looks like it's going to be Tim Richmond, maybe. Ben Hess is still there. I don't think it's going to be Richmond. It is going to be Richmond. Oh boy. This is going to be bad news for not just Mark Martin, but for Bill Elliott if Richmond's able to take the position over. Look at this move by Martin. Wow, that was an incredibly aggressive move here on lap 43. Martin will retain the lead. That was a great move there by Mark Martin. No doubt about it. A potentially dominating move there by that 6th car. Meanwhile, everyone else is trying to get free from lap traffic. Davey Allison was just able to do it. Terry Labonte is on the bottom trying to do it. Here comes Alan Kowicki. He's going to make a look at this dive bomb move on Jeff Bodine as Alan Kowicki might pick himself up some positions here. And that is with an S, because he might be able to get around Terry Labonte. As he will. Look at this move on Terry Labonte. So now the 7 car's moving up to some positions. Remember, he got his first career win at Martinsville. So we know that Alan Kowicki's fast here. Yeah, he knows how to win at this track, although it was by a little bit of a fluke. Wow, 3 wide into turn 3. I keep cutting myself off because there keeps on a new thing that needs to be covered. Oh, look at this. Kowicki way up the hill. Contact between Rudd and Kowicki. Boy, this battle between positions is fierce. Meanwhile, where's Elliott? Elliott is scored a lap down, by the way, in 29. So Elliott's day is basically done. Yeah, he's going to be losing 80 some points to Tim Richmond here today, who, by the way, has fallen to 3rd. Davey Allison has taken over the 2nd position. And here you can see Kowicki. He's going to get right back around Ricky Rudd. This battle for 5th is intense. Here comes Terry Labonte now. Rudd, is he going to be able to pull the crossover? Look out, Ben Hess is right there. Rudd puts the bumper to him. Here he comes. Does he have the run going into turn 1? He does not. Rudd slides up the hill. Terry Labonte also slides up the hill. Here comes Jeff Bodine under Terry Labonte. Kowicki finally able to put a move on Ben Hess. Meanwhile, Brett Bodine's going to take over Morgan Shepherd. That's for 10th. And Kowicki continues. I'll tell you what, Kowicki might be able to march forward here. He's the last Ford to pick up a victory here at Martinsville. Maybe the Fords are getting a little better at this track. There's been some cases where the Fords are just helpless here, but hey, maybe the new Thunderbird's giving them life. Meanwhile, you can see Darrell Waltrip. He's back to being 1 lap down, and he's about to be passed by his team. Look at that move by Richmond. He's not taking anything from his teammate. That's no way to respect your teammate, who also happens to be a 3-time champion of the series. Well, I guess when you're first in points and your objective is to gain as many points as you can on your deceased rival, who is Bill Elliott, who, by the way, has now exited the race. He will be finishing 32nd today. So, complications with Bill Elliott. We'll try to figure out what happened to him. Okay, so here's what's going on with Bill Elliott. He's already a lap down here. He's in 16th. He's having issues. So this is in the middle of that fierce battle that was going on. Kyle Petty is going to get to his bumper. He's going to clip him. Hard into the inside retaining barrier for Elliott. Yeah, that's hard enough to end your day. Elliott, very hard into the inside retaining barrier there. So that's why Elliott has gone behind the wall. Meanwhile, your leader continues to be the number 6, Mark Martin. He has dominated this race. And I got to tell you, the Fords have looked strong today. We've got a Ford in 1st, a Ford in 2nd, a Ford in 6th, Ford in 7th. And we've also got Brett Bodine knocking around in the top, near the top 10 as well in 11th. So the Fords have done a lot better here at Martinsville than they usually do. Yeah, that's got to be said. That's really impressive. And the two people that usually dominate this track, Tim Richmond and Dale Earnhardt, These are the guys that are usually out there leading 100, 110, 120 laps even. No, just between these two drivers, they're usually the ones battling for the lead. Or one of these two are just so far out in front that it literally doesn't matter. Yeah, that's usually how Martinsville works. Either the 25 or the 3 takes the lead and see ya. But that just has not been the case today. Meanwhile, it looks like Kowicki's maybe having a little bit of a hard time getting around Bobby Hillen here. And Hillen is slow, so this has been a really rough time here for Allen. Yeah, he does not want to be behind Bobby Hillen Jr. here. Here he goes. He was able to make the move there. Kowicki wants to get back on that gas and go. He wants to run Ricky Rudd back down, try to get a top 5 out of this. Think about Davey Allison. He's in second place. He's way up there, man. Oh, this is one of those races where the car type doesn't really matter. And Davey Allison's really showing that right now. Just going to ride along with your leader a little bit. And then we're going to go back to this position battle back here, which continues to be rather intense. Especially once it starts getting around lap cars. So right now you're looking at 7th, Terry Labonte. Here's 8th, Jeff Bodine. So Labonte is in the 11 car. We don't know if Labonte is going to be in the 11 car next year or not. And we've got the 5 of Jeff Bodine, who we also don't know if he's going to be in that car next year or not. We don't know what's going to go on at all. It's going to be a crazy offseason, no doubt about that. Labonte is still there behind the 8. Trying to find a way around Hillen. Hasn't been good so far. Now Labonte slips up the track. Will that be a hole for Bodine? Not quite. Action has slid a little bit here at Martinsville. Every once in a while we do get one of these lull periods in action. Now here could be an interesting battle for position. Now we're watching the battle for 4th. Potentially 3rd if they can catch Tim Richmond. But right now we've got 4th place, Dale Earnhardt, number 3. 5th place, Ricky Rudd, number 26. And you've also got the 3rd place there, number 25, Tim Richmond. These 3 drivers are very, very good at short tracks and specifically very good at Martinsville. So we'll see how these 3 basically short track ringers deal with things. And there you go. There's a dive bomb move by Ricky Rudd. That was perfectly timed, perfectly placed. That was basically perfect everything. And Earnhardt's trying to put the crossover over, and Ricky Rudd pulled the block. That was a great move there by Rudd. He saves the position. Rudd to 4th. Wow, Rudd's got a good car, too. He really does. Rudd really does have a good car. I want to take a look at these fastest laps because this is insane. So the fastest lap by our leader is Mark Martin, 96.107 miles an hour. Ricky Rudd's fastest lap is also 96.107 miles an hour. And you take a look at Dale Earnhardt. He's 3rd fastest at 96.078 miles an hour. And Davey Allison is 4th fastest, 96.039 miles an hour. So we've got 4 drivers all within 1/10 of a mile an hour in average speed around each other, and we've got Let's see here. Oh boy, 15 drivers who have turned a lap time within a whole mile an hour of the leader. And usually that number is like 4 or 5, not 15. So the level of competition today is definitely fierce, but it looks like Mark Martin, he's stayed a step ahead of everybody today as he continues to lead. And Martin's done a fantastic job. Now the question that we have to poll here is there going to be another pit stop? Lap 40 is a very interesting time to have that pit stop. I don't know if that's going to allow him to get all the way to the end or not, so we'll have to watch and see if there's going to be a late race stop or not. Obviously that mid-race stop was kind of mandatory. It's the best time to come down pit road. You're not going to lose 2 laps like you would during a normal green flag run. So it's very important. And now, wow, this battle's really starting to heat up. Earnhardt trying to use the bumper on Ricky Rudd to get that position back. Rudd's trying to burn him, and he does. And look at this. Rudd uses the bumper on Tim Richmond. Here comes Ricky. Oh, boy. And Rudd going down to the inside there trying to make the move, but no inroads can be made. Things got really dicey there for the third position. Rudd slides up the track a little, maybe trying to get a better run off of turn 2, maybe trying to get Earnhardt off of his back end. It can be really, really, really difficult to make a pass or make a move or anything like that when there's somebody right on your tail trying to look for the same pass. It can be really hard. Look at this, Earnhardt trying to make the move on Rudd. Does he have the momentum going in the 3? Yes, he will. Dale Earnhardt dives down to the inside here in turn 3, and he's going to take the 4th position away from Ricky Rudd. Well, Rudd's trying to fight back, but it's basically no use. He pulled even there, and Rudd maybe still trying to fight back on the outside. This battle isn't over, and Rudd actually pulls ahead of Earnhardt. That would be crazy if Rudd's actually able to make this pass on the outside work. He's pulling even with Earnhardt down the straightaways, but I think the inside lane in the corners is just going to end up being too much for Ricky Rudd. Or maybe it isn't. Rudd is still fighting back in the outside lane. This is incredible. Look at the run that the 26 gets off the corner. Tim Richmond slips up the track. Earnhardt trying to take the position away from Richmond, but he can't even take the position away from Rudd. In fact, that might open the door for Rudd to pull away even further. I think he's got Rudd clear here. He will. Yeah, Rudd got a little too high there on the track. All these guys are just trying to pass Hutch Strickland. Meanwhile, we're about to have a battle for the lead, potentially. Depends on how lap traffic falls, but here's Mark Martin and there's Davey Allison. So meanwhile, all that this stuff's been happening, everyone's been catching the 6 car because of lap traffic. So now lap traffic might play a huge role in determining who's going to win this race. Yeah, Mark Martin, he pulled away because of lap traffic. Well, he pulled away in clean air, but maybe these lap cars, they're not letting them by so easy. And why would they? Everyone going to the outside there. Everyone's just trying desperately to find grip at this track. Here comes Allison down to the inside of Richard Petty. He's going to want to take that position. Martin getting a little desperate and using the bumper to get around the 88. Now Allison puts the bumper to Martin. Here comes the battle for the lead. Martin going to try to get that strong run off of turn 2. It looks like he's going to get him there, but Allison uses the bumper again. Using the dive bomb move, going into turn 3, and your new leader is going to be the 28 of Davey Allison. This is not over. Mark Martin's right back to the bumper, the 28. Oh boy, we don't usually see a lot of action here at Martinsville, but boy, this has been a great race, no doubt about that. Allison continues. He's still got the lead, but Martin is right there. He's looking to capitalize on any mistake, like that one. Martin unable to get the run off the corner, though. Meanwhile, I believe the caution is going to come out. That will be advantage Allison coming to the line. Allison will have the lead, and Jimmy Spencer will stay on the lead lap. Caution flag is out. It's time to figure out what happened to bring out the yellow. Probably just good hard racing. Oh boy. Oh, that doesn't look good at all. Looks, I'm going to guess that Harry Gant ran out of room. He's right in front of the 25 here, and that is just not going to be a good place to be. Tim Richmond probably getting a little desperate here coming off of turn 3. He gets to the bumper of the 33. And now, right into the barrels. Yeah, that is a hard angle to hit at, too. Hard angle. Luckily, the barrier's there. They act as the barrels are there, rather. They act as a soft wall. And look at this. Allison will get out first. Martin will get out second. And Earnhardt will get out third. Rudd fourth. And Kowicki fifth. So Tim Richmond loses many positions down pit road. I think he's still ahead of Shepard, and indeed he is. So we really had some position gains there. That was insane. I think we're going to have an excellent finish to this race. Oh! Bumper cars going on there as cars are trying to get to pit road. Some cars are trying to get off of pit road. Things can get really crowded here at Martinsville, especially with the front and back stretch pit roads. Things are always able to get dicey. And yeah, the according effect here at Martinsville continues to happen. So, this caution will serve as a breather. We no longer have any questions about pit road. It's going to be about dodging lap traffic and who's going to be the best at doing it. So that pit stop put Tim Richmond all the way back to 7th, to which Bill Elliott's got to be like, nice. Yeah, basically every single, he's just hoping for Tim Richmond to lose as many positions as possible here, but it doesn't look like he's going to lose anything more than 15th unless he wrecks, and he obviously doesn't want Richmond to wreck and risk an injury. Harry Gant was able to walk away from the accident scot-free. No issues from Gant. So everything is okay there. The 49-year-old veteran trying to have a comeback here. Hasn't had a win since 1985. It's been a really, really rough stretch for him. Anyways, 30 laps to decide this race. Green flag is out and we're underway. Allison's able to get a great start. Mark Martin pushing Allison into the first corner, trying to get him to mess up his line. And it looks like Martin's going to get off scot-free here into turn 3. The battle is on. Who's it going to be here? Is it going to be Martin? Is it going to be Allison? Here comes Martin in turn 1. He's not going to waste any time. Davey Allison trying to fight back on the outside. I think Martin's going to have Allison's number here, though. He indeed will. Mark Martin takes back the lead here on lap number 97. We know that Mark Martin's definitely the fastest car on the short run. And, oh, we've got another potential. They saved it. They saved it. They all saved that. I thought that was going to be a massive accident. Yeah, I thought that was going to pile up the whole track there. That was scaring me for a second. But, man, that was... Whew. Yeah, I think everyone's heart skipped a beat there, but they saved it. And it looks like Mark Martin's pulling away. 26 to go. Martin's still good. Martin is still... Yeah, he might have this. I don't know, 25 to go. Is that going to be enough to catch any lap traffic? More contact here. Earnhardt really pushing to try to get by. It looks like that pit stop issue has not affected the 25-1. Single bit, 3 wide going into turn 1. Oh boy. And there's still 3 wide. Terry Labonte was not the lucky driver there. And it looks like Kulwicki's going to be able to get this position from Earnhardt. Maybe. Yes, he will. Kulwicki will be able to take the position away from Earnhardt here. And Earnhardt's going to have to deal with Terry Labonte. So that'll put Kulwicki into 6th. And Mark Martin has opened up a huge lead here at the front of the pack. Huge lead. And I don't think anyone's going to catch him. It's a 2-second advantage. The caution flag is out. That'll do it. Oh boy. Who done it now? Oh. Oh boy. They're out now. Has something to do with Morgan Shepherd. You can see the 66 of Rick Mast. He's down here on the bottom, the rookie. Got that win at Sears Point earlier. Now let's see what happens here. The 83 is going to get contact here from Larry Pearson. That sends the 75 around. Wow, the 83 hits a ton, and Jimmy Spencer jacks up the side of the 75. 83 and 88 and 75, they all hit a ton. Everyone's driving though, so it looks like everyone's going to be okay. Sit back, relax, wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. You know, you think sometimes these yellow flag periods, you can almost think of them as down periods. They are not down periods. They can be just as tense, and sometimes you can cut that tension with a knife, which is basically what we're seeing right now. On this restart, I gotta say that there are 5, maybe 6 cars that have a legitimate shot of winning this race. Obviously, Mark Martin, he's the most likely to just jump out and beat everyone. But Davey Allison, we know he's got an extremely fast car. Ricky Rudd is just as fast as Mark Martin, no doubt about that. And then you have Jeff Bodine and Tim Richmond. Both have won races here at Richmond before. So they know how to get it done as well. Yeah, it's just absolutely insane sometimes how these races work. Mark. Okay, so let's see here. The pace car is still going to be going out, so it looks like we're going to get our restart here on lap number 109. That's going to put us with 17 to go on the restart. So this is going to be some interesting stuff. 17 laps will be remaining in this race. Your top 10 is going to be Mark Martin's your leader, Davey Allison in second. They're the only two to lead laps thus far today. Ricky Rudd is in third, Jeff Bodine fourth, Tim Richmond fifth. Sixth will be Terry Labonte, seventh Alan Kowicki, eighth Dale Earnhardt, ninth Brett Bodine, and 10th Rusty Wallace. If you're wondering where Bill Elliott is, he had an early race incident which put him back in the 32nd position, and he ended up going behind the wall, and that is where he will be finishing today. So Elliott, unfortunately, he is going to have a very bad points day, at least unfortunately for him. And he's going to have to make up all that hard work that he has done over the past 4 or 5 races to reel in a 125-point deficit on Tim Richmond. He's just going to have to reel that all back in because Richmond is not going to give in. Anyways, they're coming to the line. The green flag's back out, and it looks like the 17's going to let Martin go. And look at this, 3 wide. What a move by Ricky Rudd. A risky move. We've got Kowicki and Hutch Strickland in the wall back here. Kowicki and Hutch Strickland around and getting into the wall. Caution flag is out. Mark Martin's still your leader. Oh boy, things are getting really dicey now. Let's see what happened this time. I think the 3 and the 7, they get too close here. Yep, right into the 57. Oh, the 7 stayed off the wall. The 57's the only one to hit the wall. Now the 15 is slow here, because he's going to get tagged by the 8. And he keeps it off the wall. Wow. That's a couple of really good saves. And the tension resumes. Ricky Rudd is now in the 2nd position. Davey Ellison falls back to 3rd. Jeff Bodine is still in 4th. Tim Richmond is still in 5th. So a crazy aggressive move on the restart puts Ricky Rudd in a position to where he can make a move on Mark Martin. Now this is the 2nd race in a row where Mark Martin... Well, I shouldn't just... Yeah, this is the 2nd race in a row where Mark Martin's got a legitimate shot at taking this one home. Now remember, he was able to get his 2nd win of the season at Richmond. So he was able to take that one home. And then he was at Dover. He wasn't quite able to bag that. And now here he is at Martinsville. And he is insane. So Mark Martin having a crazy good stretch here down at the end of the season. My goodness, man. Martin has been doing really, really well. Hey, if you're going to have a disappointing season, you can at least finish off the season strong. And if that's going to involve getting your 3rd win of the year, I mean, that's really impressive. You can win Martinsville from the pole, which, honestly, that does happen a lot. Usually the pole sitter or the person who qualifies 2nd, more often than not, they're the winner of the race. It's quite surprising to see Mark Martin get the pole, someone other than Tim Richmond or Dale Earnhardt getting the pole here at Martinsville. It almost seemed too far-fetched. By the way, Bill Elliott still doesn't have a pole on the season. That just baffles me, man. So, top 10 now. We're going to be restarting with 11 laps to go, I think. We'll see if the lights on the pace car go out. Indeed. So, we're going to restart with 11 laps to go. This will be our last single file restart. If there's another caution, I mean the last double file restart, if there's another caution and we're able to get the race back going, that restart will be a single file start. Lapped cars will not line up on the left. Your top 10, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, Jeff Bodine, Tim Richmond, Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and Kyle Petty is going to round out the top 10. 13 cars are on the lead lap as they come down to the line. The green flag is once again displayed, and look who's going to make a run for the corner. Look at the move by Ricky Rudd. Rudd moves down to the inside, and they're going to wreck again. Davey Allison hard off the inside wall. Oh, this is going to clog the track. Jeff Bodine involved. Davey Allison was having such a good race. So was Jeff Bodine. Oh, we've got more problems. The 23. Already been involved in an accident today. Figure out what happened here to the 23. Looks like he's going to get into the wall, and then Dick Trickle gets into him. And that causes a huge stack up behind them. By the way, the 17's back on the lead lap. So now, Darrell Waltrip's going to be able to see if he can strut his stuff out in the front. So unfortunately, this is not going to be Davey Allison's day. Neither is it going to be Jeff Bodine's day. They're probably done. So this is now standing to be what will be the final restart of the race. Everyone was just driving themselves way, way, way too hard. And now with the way that they line up, single file, there's really only two contenders to win this race now. It's either going to be Ricky Rudd or it's going to be Mark Martin. So Mark Martin, he's dominated this race. Dominated it. And here we are, we have Ricky Rudd. He is in the lead. He didn't lead a lap until that last restart. So we know that these two cars are basically equally fast. For a good majority of this race, they had the identical fastest lap time. Now Mark Martin has a much faster lap put up on the board. And this is just going to be a tale of restart speed. Who's going to have the fastest car? That had to be some of the most frantic restarts that I've ever seen. You can definitely tell the end of the year tension is here. No doubt about that. The end of the year tension is in full swing. Should probably go to live. You just see how many cars have been involved in an accident today. It's actually been quite a caution fest, especially for a Martinsville race. Lots of carnage happened today. For Martinsville, that's not typical. So it just shows you that the competition's been a lot closer this season. It's been very, very, very close this year. And everyone's just fighting and clawing at each other, trying to get whatever position that they can. Everyone's racing as hard as they can. It's just crazy. The lights are off, and this is going to be a 5-lap dash to decide who wins this, or it probably will be even less. Basically, it's going to be whoever gets out of turn 1, whoever gets back to the line with the lead, might end up being the winner of this race. Even if the restart's single file, you got to keep that in the back of your mind that, hey, there might be another quick caution. If there's another quick caution, there's no way to do this. You can't dilly-dally for these 5 laps. You got to go out there and you got to pass turn 1. Well, we'll see if that happens. 5 laps to go and they come to the line. Ricky Rudd, your leader. The green flag is out. Mark Martin spins his tires on the start. Oh boy. Just watching the battle for the lead now. It's going to be either Ricky Rudd or Mark Martin to take this away. This is going to be a close race. 4 laps to go. Martin is right on the bumper of Ricky Rudd. Martin's trying to set him up. No lap traffic's going to get involved. Martin hasn't gained or lost any momentum here. Chad Little getting back onto the track, fixing his damage. 3 laps to go. Like, you can count down these laps like crazy. Mark Martin wants to go. He knows he's got the faster car, but he can't do anything about it. He can't get to the bumper of Rudd. He might have to wait for Rudd to muck up somewhere. 2 to go. One of these drivers are going to have to give. We'll see what happens. Looks like Rudd's maintaining his pace. So is Martin. These guys are basically equally matched. That's advantage Rudd right now. Coming down to the line. White flag. 1 lap to go. We are still green. Ricky Rudd, he fought and clawed his way all the way up through the pack today. And now here he is. He's going to go into turn 3. He's going to come off of turn 4. And Ricky Rudd fighting his way to a win here at the Goody's 500 at Martinsville. What a fantastic race. How about Rusty Wallace coming in 5th and Dick Trickle coming in 6th? Oh boy, we got some slow cars here. I'm not sure what's going on there. All sorts of problems. I think there was a wreck on the last lap. Let's try to figure out what exactly happened here. No, Earnhardt's just looked like that. We'll see if there was some kind of accident that happened on the last lap here. They were too busy tuned into the race for the finish. Yeah, here you go. The 42 went around. Yeah, and that threw out the caution. So the caution and checkered flag flies as the 26 and the 6 come across the line. But your winner is going to be Ricky Rudd. And the points difference is now 105. And Elliott's going to have to reel that all back in. That is not going to be easy. Ricky Rudd picks up his 3rd win of the season and will move up to 5th in the standings. And he's actually only 3 points behind Darrell Waltrip. Tim Richmond looks like he's going to have back-to-back 20 top 10 seasons. I don't think that's ever happened in the throwbacks where drivers had back-to-back 20 top 10 seasons. But Tim Richmond looks like he's going to do that. Earnhardt will probably also do that. Whether if Elliott gets there is more of a question or not. But it really looks like Tim Richmond's going to win this championship for sure. But boy, there are positions to be had all over the place. Dick Trickle's pretty much got Rookie of the Year in the bag, especially after that 6th place finish today. You can see Dick Trickle there, 19th in points. His nearest competitor for Rookie of the Year is Hutch Strickland, and he's 28th in points. Way, way off. So there's really going to be no competitor for Rookie of the Year for Dick Trickle. Larry Pearson moves back into the top 25, so that'll be good for Pearson. And that battle is going to continue to go on. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, after that very strong run at Martinsville, that's going to move him up to 12th in points and move him ahead of somebody who has 16 top 10s this season, Phil Parsons. You gotta think, how can somebody have 16 top 10s and somehow be 13th in points? I don't know how you manage that either, but probably has something to do with 5 DNFs. Oh, but Jeff Bodine has 5 DNFs, and he's also got 16 top 10s. I mean, Rusty Wallace. I'm jumping to conclusions again. And he's up here, so I don't know. Anyways, tune in next time for the All-Pro Auto Parts 500 from